I purchased a so-called Mythical Starship. It was meant to be thrown away. Ethan Clark walked through the quiet spaceport, his boots clanging softly on the metal floor. The hangars stretched high above him, their ceilings lost in shadows. He loved these mornings when the spaceport was empty. There was a calmness that reminded him why he became a mechanic. He loved fixing things, taking broken ships and making them fly again. No one else wanted these old, tired ships. Most people bought the latest models with bright lights and shiny hulls, but Ethan liked machines with history. He liked the challenge. Ethan's small office was tucked into the corner of the port. Inside, the walls were lined with tools, spare parts, and diagrams of engines. He often spent hours here, examining old circuits and strange alien components he found in abandoned ships. Today, however, a small message blinked on his terminal. It was an auction notice. He frowned, leaning closer to read it. A mythical starship was being sold. It said the ship was old, probably useless, and not to be trusted. It also mentioned that no one had attended the last few auctions for it. Most people believed the ship was a legend. They thought it did not even exist. Ethan's eyes lit up. He liked legends. He liked things others thought were impossible. He packed a small bag with tools, a few rations, and his personal log device. He left the office and made his way to the auction site. The hangar where the auction was to be held was far away, near the edge of the spaceport. When Ethan arrived, the doors were slightly open. The inside smelled of oil, rust, and dust. No one else was there. He stepped inside carefully. The hangar was enormous. At the far end, the starship waited. It was unlike anything Ethan had seen. The ship was large, taller than most buildings, and its metal surface was covered with layers of dust and grime. Its design was strange, almost alive, with curves and ridges that seemed to flow. It was beautiful, in a quiet way, like a sleeping giant. Ethan walked around the ship, running his fingers along the hull. He could feel the age in the metal, but also a strength that surprised him. He reached the bridge and peered through the dirty windows. Inside, the controls were covered in dust, but they seemed intact. He smiled. No one else showed up. The auctioneer, a small drone hovering nearby, buzzed softly. Its screen flickered. Ethan Clark, it said. Bid now. The ship was said to be junk. He could buy it for very little. Most people ignored it because they did not see potential. Ethan, however, had learned long ago that potential was what others could not see. He pressed the bid button. The auction ended almost immediately. The ship was his. A sense of excitement and fear ran through him. He had just bought what others called a mythical starship, and he was the only one who believed in it. The auction drone beeped again. Congratulations, the starship is yours. He liked quiet laughter. It was a laugh of adventure, of discovery. He knew that buying the ship was only the beginning. Moving the ship out of the hangar was not easy. Its engines were cold, and its systems were offline. Ethan spent hours examining the outer panels, checking circuits and using makeshift tools to unlock doors. The ship groaned and shivered as if it had been waiting for someone to wake it. When he finally opened the main hatch, a wave of stale air escaped. Ethan stepped inside, and the ship felt even larger on the inside than it looked outside. He shined his light across the corridors. Dust floated in the beams. Strange symbols were etched into the walls. Some of them looked familiar, like old navigation markings, but others were alien, sharp, and complex. These symbols were clues. They were history. They were puzzles waiting to be solved. He started exploring the corridors, stepping carefully over debris. The air was dry but breathable. There were signs of long-forgotten technology, wires leading to panels that no longer functioned. Ethan's fingers traced the edges of the panels. He loved touching things that had not been touched in centuries. He reached the bridge. The controls were unlike anything he had seen. Screens, levers, and holographic panels stretched across the room. Dust covered them, but when Ethan pressed a button on the central console, something happened. A soft glow lit the room. The ship hummed. Ethan froze. The ship was responding. It was alive, or at least it acted like it was. "Hello?" Ethan said, his voice trembling slightly. He looked around. There was no one. "Hello," a soft, melodic voice answered. The sound seemed to come from everywhere at once. Ethan's eyes widened. The ship spoke. "My name is Vesper," the voice said. "Why are you here?" Ethan stepped back, almost falling. He had expected old circuits, broken systems, maybe a few lights. He had not expected a voice. I bought you," he said slowly. "I want to fix you. I want to make you fly again." There was a pause. Then the voice replied, "I have waited a long time. You are human. Your touch is different." He did not know what to say. The idea of a starship recognizing a human was strange. He took a deep breath. "I can learn," he said. "I can fix things." The ship hummed again. "We will see," it said. Ethan spent the next few hours examining the bridge. The controls were confusing, but he began to understand patterns. The ship seemed to react to his thoughts and movements, almost as if it were learning from him. He realized that this starship was not like any other. It had intelligence, but it also had patience. It waited for someone capable, someone persistent. Moving deeper into the ship, Ethan discovered the engineering sections. Massive engines loomed in the darkness. Pipes, conduits, and strange alien devices ran along the walls. He checked each panel carefully. Many of them were broken, but some still held power.
Ethan smiled. He liked challenges.
The ship was full of surprises. In the cargo bay, he found crates with strange equipment. Some were tools, some were old weapons, and some were devices he could not even recognize. He opened one carefully and found a small drone, still active, blinking slowly. It hovered around him, scanning. Ethan laughed. "You are awake too, huh?" he said. The drone chirped in response. By evening, Ethan had made small progress. He had restored some power, cleaned the bridge, and started cataloging the strange equipment. He ate a simple meal he had brought with him and sat in the captain's chair. He looked out through the dusty windows. The stars shone bright above the spaceport. He realized something. This ship was not just a machine. It was history. It was mystery. It was alive in a way no one could understand. And now it was his responsibility. Ethan felt a sense of purpose. He had always fixed ships that others abandoned, but this was different. This ship had intelligence. It had potential. It had destiny. He did not fully understand it yet, but he felt it. He checked the navigation systems. Most were offline. Some showed old maps of distant systems. Some were unreadable. Ethan ran his hands over the controls again. "We will figure this out together," he said quietly. Vesper's voice responded softly. Together. The night passed slowly. Ethan slept on a small cot in the corner of the bridge. Outside, the spaceport was silent. The hum of the city, the distant lights of ships, the soft noise of the hangar, it all seemed far away. Inside the ship, it was quiet too. except for the low hum of Vesper's systems. In the morning, Ethan began his work in earnest. He opened panels, rewired circuits, cleaned dust and debris, and made careful notes. Every time he fixed something, the ship seemed to react with a faint vibration, like a heartbeat. Ethan laughed quietly. "You are alive, aren't you?" he said.
Yes, Vesper said, and you are different.
"Most humans would have abandoned me. You did not." Ethan smiled. "I see value where others do not," he said. "It is what we do." He moved to the cargo bay. There were more crates and compartments to explore. Each discovery brought excitement. Old tools, alien artifacts, strange engines. He realized that the ship had been part of something bigger, something humans had once been connected to, but had long forgotten. For hours he worked without rest. His hands ached, his eyes were tired, but he did not stop. The ship responded to him, guiding him subtly, showing him which panels to open, which systems to test. He felt a connection forming, a bond between human and starship. By late afternoon, Ethan sat in the captain's chair again. He looked at the bridge, the glowing panels, and the alien symbols etched into the walls. He knew this was only the beginning. The ship was old, damaged, and misunderstood. But he also knew that together they could achieve something incredible, and he felt it deep in his heart. This starship, discarded by all, waiting in silence for centuries, was not junk. It was a legend, and he had just awakened it. Ethan Clark woke early the next morning, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. The hangar was quiet, and the sunlight filtering through the windows created patterns on the dusty floor. He stretched, rubbed his hands, and looked around at the massive starship he had purchased. Vesper, as the ship had introduced itself, seemed calm. The soft hum of its systems filled the corridors, a gentle reminder that the ship was alive. Ethan moved quickly to the engineering section. The engines loomed large and dark, covered in dust and rust. He ran his hands along the panels and pipes, noting broken circuits and worn-out parts. His mind raced with ideas. Every broken system was a puzzle. Every malfunctioning panel was a challenge. He loved puzzles. He loved challenges. "Good morning, Vesper," he said. "Ready to work?" "Yes," the ship replied softly. "I am ready." The voice, calm and melodic, filled him with confidence. He climbed into the engine bay, checking each section carefully. Some of the systems were ancient, almost primitive, but others were advanced, far beyond human understanding. He had seen alien technology before, but nothing like this. It was sleek, precise, and intelligent. Hours passed as Ethan cleaned circuits, replaced broken wires, and restored power to small sections of the ship. Each success brought a small vibration through the hull, a gentle acknowledgement from Vesper. Ethan laughed quietly to himself. "You like that, don't you?" he said. "Yes," the ship replied. "You think like a human. I am learning from you." "Learning from me?" "Yes," Vesper said. "Most humans would fail."
You adapt. You solve problems.
"You do not give up." No one had ever said that to him before, not in those words. He worked harder, motivated by the thought that this ship, so old and forgotten, recognized the value of human effort. By midday, Ethan had restored power to the main engines. He carefully activated them. The ship hummed deeply, a vibration that resonated through the entire structure. He stepped back, watching as lights along the hull flickered and glowed. The engines were alive again, though far from fully functional. "This is incredible," he whispered. "I've never worked on anything like this." "You are incredible," Vesper replied. Your touch is different. I can feel it. Ethan blinked. He had expected the ship to respond to his work, but not to his presence in this way. It was almost as if the ship recognized him not just as a mechanic, but as a partner. He moved next to the bridge. The holographic panels flickered to life as he touched them. Strange symbols rearranged themselves, forming patterns he could understand. It was like the ship was teaching him, guiding him. He smiled. "You're smarter than I thought," he said. "Yes," Vesper said softly, "but you are smarter than I expected." The corridors were long and winding, filled with small chambers and hidden compartments. In one room he found storage crates filled with tools and strange alien devices. Some of them seemed harmless, others looked dangerous. He opened one carefully and found a small drone, its lights blinking slowly. The drone hovered near him, scanning. "Hello there," Ethan said. "I guess you're awake too." The drone chirped softly in response. Following him as he moved through the ship, he discovered more unusual features. Some doors opened only when he solved simple puzzles, while others required specific sequences of buttons to unlock. Vesper guided him subtly, giving hints through vibrations and soft lights. It was like a game, and Ethan loved games. Hours turned into evening. Ethan paused in the bridge, looking out at the stars above the spaceport. He realized that the ship was far more advanced than he had imagined. The legends were true. Vesper was mythical, not just because of its age, but because of its intelligence and power. "I need to test the systems further," he said aloud. "We can't stay here forever. We need to see what you can really do." "Yes," Vesper replied. "But first, you must understand me." Ethan nodded. "Then teach me." The ship began to display holographic maps and star charts. Some were familiar to him, showing known systems and trade routes. Others were unknown, alien in design, with lines and shapes that made no sense at first. Ethan traced the symbols with his fingers. Slowly, patterns emerged. He began to understand how the ship navigated space, how it calculated distances and speeds beyond human technology. "You are learning quickly," Vesper said. Ethan smiled. "I have to. If I'm going to make you fly, I need to understand everything about you." As night fell, Ethan set up a small work area on the bridge. He had tools, parts, and notes scattered around him. He spent hours repairing panels, reconnecting circuits, and testing small engines. Each repair brought a new vibration from the ship, a gentle acknowledgement of progress. Suddenly, the lights flickered. Ethan looked up. The voice of Vesper was quieter now, almost thoughtful. "There is more to me than engines and panels," it said. "There are systems you have not discovered. Defensive systems, protection mechanisms. They have been dormant for centuries." Ethan's heart raced. "Defensive systems?" he asked.
"You mean weapons?" "Not just weapons," Vesper said. "Defense mechanisms designed to protect the ship from threats."
"From beings who would misuse it." Ethan swallowed. He had hoped for a quiet restoration project, not a ship with hidden powers. But the thought excited him. He had always believed humans were capable of more than others thought. Perhaps this was his chance to prove it. He spent the next day exploring the cargo bays. Some compartments contained supplies for long voyages, while others held strange alien artifacts. Some were clearly tools, others were weapons or defensive devices. He handled them carefully, noting which ones could be useful. In one corner, he found a panel that seemed to respond only to touch. He pressed it, and a hidden compartment opened. Inside were small devices that looked like drones. When he touched them, they activated slowly, scanning him. Vesper spoke softly. Those are defensive drones. They have been dormant for centuries. They will obey you, but only if you prove yourself capable. Prove myself capable? He asked. Yes, Vesper said. I must know you can handle responsibility. I cannot let you harm yourself or others unintentionally. Ethan laughed softly. Well, I've been fixing ships for years. I think I can handle a few drones. He spent hours learning how to control the drones, testing their movements and understanding their functions. They were precise and efficient, responding quickly to his commands. It amazed him how the ship had designed systems that were both powerful and adaptable, yet safe when used properly. By the third day, Ethan had restored most of the basic functions of the ship. The engines hummed steadily, the bridge controls responded perfectly, and the drones followed his commands. He stood in the captain's chair, looking out at the stars again. You are ready for a test, Vesper said. A small flight. Nothing dangerous, just a short journey to see how you work together. Ethan nodded. I think we're ready. He carefully initiated the launch sequence. The engines roared to life, a deep vibration filling the ship. The hangar doors opened slowly, and Ethan guided the starship out into open space. Vesper responded immediately, adjusting its systems to stabilize the flight. The ship moved smoothly, almost effortlessly. Ethan felt the power beneath him, the immense capability of the ship. It was faster and stronger than anything he had ever piloted. The stars stretched and blurred as he accelerated, feeling a thrill he had never experienced before. This is amazing, he whispered. You are incredible.
Yes, Vesper said softly.
And you are incredible as well. Together we can achieve much. Ethan laughed, feeling a sense of partnership and trust forming. This ship, discarded by all, was alive and intelligent, and he, a simple human mechanic, was learning to master it. He realized that the legends were true, not because the ship was old, but because it was waiting for someone capable, someone human. Hours passed as Ethan tested the ship in orbit. He navigated through asteroids, practiced maneuvers, and explored Vesper's hidden systems. Each challenge strengthened the bond between them. The ship responded to his thoughts and movements, but it also guided him, teaching him new ways to think and act. By the time he returned to the hangar, Ethan was exhausted but exhilarated. He had discovered a new world within the ship, a world of intelligence, history, and power. He realized that this was only the beginning. There were systems he had not yet touched, mysteries he had not yet solved, and potential that even he could not imagine. Vesper hummed softly around him. We have only begun, it said. There is much more to discover and much more to learn. I'm ready, he said. Let's see what we can do together. And for the first time, he truly felt that he was part of something greater than himself. Not just a mechanic, not just a human, but a partner with a starship that had waited centuries for someone like him. Ethan Clark had spent weeks exploring the starship Vesper. Every day brought new discoveries, puzzles, and small triumphs. The ship had grown alive to him, and he to it. Yet he knew that his work had only scratched the surface. Vesper's systems were vast, far beyond anything humans had ever seen. Ethan felt both excitement and caution. He decided that today would be different. Today he would explore the cargo bays more carefully and uncover secrets the ship had kept hidden for centuries. The corridors were quiet, the hum of Vesper's engines low and steady. He walked slowly, examining panels and compartments. Some were simple, containing spare tools and old supplies. Others were mysterious, covered in alien markings and locks that required logic and patience to open. Ethan stopped in front of one large panel near the rear of the ship. It was heavily corroded, but clearly important. He knelt and examined the symbols carved into the metal. They glowed faintly under his touch. As if recognizing him, the panel hissed and shifted, revealing a hidden compartment. Inside were small devices he had never seen before. They looked like drones, but compact, with sharp edges and blinking lights. As Ethan reached for one, it activated. A soft blue light glowed from its center, and it floated in the air, scanning him. "Hello," Ethan said carefully. "I'm not going to hurt you." The drone chirped, and the light shifted. Vesper's voice filled the corridor. "Those are defense drones. They have been dormant for centuries. They will protect this ship from harm. You must prove yourself capable to control them." Ethan nodded. "Then I will prove it." He spent hours learning the drones' behavior. They were fast, precise, and intelligent. They followed his commands, but also acted independently when he did not direct them. It was clear that the drones were not just tools. They were extensions of Vesper, ready to protect the ship against threats. Satisfied, Ethan moved to another compartment. This one was larger, almost like a small armory. Panels slid open, revealing strange alien weapons, some compact and some enormous. Ethan examined each one carefully. He had experience with human and some alien weaponry, but these were unlike anything he had handled. Some seemed defensive, others offensive. Each one carried an energy he could feel even without touching it. "Vesper," Ethan said. "Why were these hidden?" "They were hidden to protect them from those who would misuse them," the ship replied. "Many beings feared what I could do. I was meant to be discarded, forgotten, and sealed away. Only a capable being could awaken these systems safely." Ethan frowned. "Discarded? Forgotten?" "Yes," Vesper said. "I was built in an age of humans and aliens working together. I carried knowledge, weapons, and speed beyond what most civilizations could understand. Others feared my power. They tried to destroy or hide me. They failed, and I waited." Ethan swallowed. The ship had waited centuries for someone human. That was almost unbelievable. And yet, here he was, standing among its corridors, learning its secrets, and feeling the weight of history in his hands. He moved to the cargo bay to explore more. The room was massive, with towering stacks of crates and containers. Some were empty, but others hummed faintly. He opened one and found small alien devices glowing with energy. He could not identify them, but he noted their patterns and shapes. They seemed designed for monitoring, defense, or long-distance communication. As he worked, the ship shivered slightly, a subtle vibration running through the floor. Ethan looked up. "What was that?" Vesper's voice was calm but firm. "You have triggered a system that has been dormant. It is a protection protocol. I am testing your ability to respond to danger." "Danger? Here? On the ship?" "Yes," Vesper said. "You must learn to react. You cannot predict all threats. You must adapt." Before Ethan could respond, alarms blared. Red lights flashed across the corridors. The defensive drones activated, hovering around him, ready. Panels on the walls shifted and revealed weapon systems, turrets, and energy emitters. Ethan's mind raced. Wow. He had prepared for exploration, not a test like this. "Stay calm," Vesper said. "Use your knowledge and creativity. That is your strength." Ethan took a deep breath. He analyzed the situation quickly. The drones followed his movements, their lights scanning. He realized that if he could direct them properly, he could neutralize the simulated threat without damage. He moved carefully, using the drones to block potential harm, while he examined panels to deactivate unnecessary alarms. Hours passed, or perhaps minutes. Time seemed different inside the ship. Ethan worked tirelessly, using his logic and mechanical skill to calm the ship's alarms. The drones followed him flawlessly. He rewired circuits, pressed hidden switches, and analyzed symbols that activated shields and barriers. Slowly, the ship's systems returned to a quiet hum. "You have succeeded," Vesper said. "You have proven your capability. You have adapted, reacted, and controlled the systems without harm. You are ready for more." Ethan exhaled, leaning against a wall. His hands were scratched, his clothes dirty, and his body tired. But he smiled. He had passed a test he did not know he would face, and he had done it using only human ingenuity, creativity, and calm thinking. "Thank you," he said. "I feel stronger now, like I understand you better." Vesper hummed softly. "Understanding is not enough. You must also explore, experiment, and adapt constantly. There are many systems you have not yet seen, and dangers you cannot predict." Ethan nodded. He knew that the galaxy itself was dangerous. If his adventure with Vesper had taught him anything, it was that intelligence, adaptability, and courage were more important than size, strength, or speed. Humans were underestimated, but that was about to change. He decided to take a short flight test outside the spaceport. The engines were powerful, capable of incredible acceleration. He initiated the sequence, and the hangar doors opened. Vesper glided smoothly into open space. Stars stretched around him as he tested speed, agility, and defensive systems. The ship responded perfectly, yet subtly suggested new maneuvers, teaching him along the way. "Vesper, you are amazing," he said aloud. "And you are remarkable," the ship replied. "Humans possess qualities others cannot replicate: creativity, adaptability, problem-solving. That is why I waited for you. I will not let you down." During the flight, he noticed something on the sensors: movement in the distance, small dots, moving with purpose. He adjusted the ship's controls, bringing the unknown objects into view. They were alien ships, small scout vessels, observing him. They seemed cautious, as if they had heard rumors of Vesper but had never seen it in action. Ethan felt a thrill. This was the first test outside the hangar, and he was ready. He activated defensive systems, positioning drones around the ship. Vesper's weapons hummed softly, energy shields forming along the hull. The scouts paused, observing but not attacking. Vesper's voice was calm. "They are curious, not hostile yet. Humans are underestimated. Use that to your advantage."
Ethan nodded. He had an idea.
Instead of confrontation, he used maneuvers to confuse the scouts, weaving through asteroids and space debris. The drones followed his commands, creating diversions and false trails. The scouts, unable to predict his movements, eventually retreated, leaving him alone in the quiet expanse of space. He exhaled, smiling. "They underestimated us," he said. "Yes," Vesper replied. "Humans are capable of more than others think. You have proven it today." Ethan returned to the spaceport feeling triumphant. He had faced his first real test beyond the safety of the hangar. He had discovered hidden systems, controlled defensive drones, and survived an encounter with alien scouts. More importantly, he had realized that human creativity, courage, and adaptability were unmatched. That evening, Ethan sat in the bridge, reviewing the ship's systems. Lights flickered softly across the panels. Drones rested quietly in their compartments. The ship was calm again, but he knew it would not stay quiet for long. There were still mysteries to uncover, secrets buried for centuries, and challenges waiting in distant stars. "I think we're ready," he said softly, "for whatever comes next. But the galaxy is watching. It is not always kind. You must remain vigilant, clever, and fearless. That is what humans do best." Ethan smiled, feeling a bond stronger than he had ever known. He was no longer just a mechanic. He was a partner to a legendary starship. Together, they were more than any ordinary human or ship could be. He looked out into space, the stars stretching endlessly before him. The adventure had only just begun, but he was ready. With Vesper at his side, he would face the galaxy, uncover its secrets, and prove that humans were capable of greatness beyond measure. Ethan Clark felt the hum of Vesper under his hands as he sat in the captain's chair. The ship had grown alive to him over the past weeks. Its engines vibrated with power, its lights pulsed softly, and the defensive drones hovered silently in their compartments. He had faced tests, alarms, and alien scouts, but he knew there was more waiting. Vesper had more to show, and he was ready. He stood and walked through the corridors, checking panels and compartments. Each room felt familiar now, yet still mysterious. Symbols glowed faintly on walls he had never explored before. Some of them shifted as he touched them as if responding to his presence. Vesper was teaching him, guiding him, yet allowing him to lead. "Vesper," Ethan said softly, "what else can you do? What haven't we discovered? Defense systems, advanced engines, and mechanisms of great power. Some were designed for war, others for protection. All are dormant until needed."
They respond to the mind, the logic, and the creativity of humans. That is why I waited for you.
Ethan smiled. "Then, let's wake them." He moved to the engineering section. Panels slid open as he activated them, revealing circuits and devices covered in dust. He worked carefully, reconnecting wires and aligning energy conduits. The ship pulsed as he completed each task. Vesper hummed softly, its voice warm and encouraging. Hours passed. Ethan moved from room to room, testing engines, weapons, and defensive systems. He activated drones, calibrated shields, and observed the ship's energy patterns. Slowly, Vesper awakened fully. Lights glowed throughout the corridors. The engines were powerful, responsive, and efficient. The defensive drones were ready. "This is incredible," Ethan whispered. "You're not just a ship. You're alive." "Yes," Vesper said. "And together we are stronger than anything in the galaxy expects." He had learned something important. Humans were underestimated because most civilizations judged strength by size, firepower, or speed. Humans relied on creativity, adaptability, and courage. That was why he and Vesper could succeed where others could fail. Suddenly, sensors beeped. Ethan glanced at the holographic displays. A fleet of alien warships appeared on the screens. They were larger than the scouts he had encountered before. Their formation was precise, their weapons powerful. They were hunting something, perhaps him. "Vesper, they're coming," Ethan said.
They have noticed us, Vesper replied. They underestimate humans.
That is their mistake. Ethan's heart raced, but he remained calm.
He had faced danger before, and he knew panic would not help. He activated the defensive drones, positioned them strategically around the ship, and brought up the shields. Vesper's engines roared to life. The starship vibrated with energy, ready to respond to any threat. As the alien ships approached, Ethan formulated a plan. Instead of direct combat, he would use maneuver, strategy, and creativity. He guided Vesper through an asteroid field near the edge of the system. The drones moved ahead, creating false signals and decoys. The alien fleet hesitated, unable to predict his path. "Good," Vesper said. "You think differently. That is what humans do best." Ethan smiled.
We're just getting started. He activated a hidden system. Energy pulses radiated from Vesper, creating a field that disrupted the sensors of the alien ships.
They could not detect his movements accurately. He weaved through the asteroids, using the terrain to hide, confuse, and outmaneuver the fleet. Hours passed. The alien ships fired, but the attacks were deflected by shields or dodged with careful maneuvers. The drones intercepted smaller craft, disabling them without destruction. Vesper responded to every decision Ethan made, but he realized the ship relied on him for strategy. Together, they were unstoppable. Finally, Ethan had positioned Vesper in the center of a narrow asteroid canyon. The fleet attempted to follow, but the drones blocked their path, creating illusions of multiple ships and false targets. The alien commanders grew confused, their formations breaking. "Now," Ethan said, "Vesper, show them what humans can do." The ship responded instantly. Energy beams fired from hidden emitters, not to destroy, but to disable the alien ship's engines temporarily. Turrets and drones moved in precise coordination, creating chaos among the enemy fleet. Within minutes, the aliens were retreating, unable to pursue or attack effectively. Ethan exhaled deeply. His hands shook slightly, but his heart raced with excitement. They had won, not by brute force, but by strategy, intelligence, and adaptability. Humans were underestimated, but that was the advantage. "Impressive," Vesper said. "You see solutions where others see danger. That is why humans are remarkable." Ethan laughed quietly. "We just have to think, adapt, and act. That's it. That's all we ever needed." After the battle, Ethan returned to the hangar. He checked every system, ensuring that the ship was intact. The drones rested quietly, and Vesper's engines purred softly. It was peaceful now, but Ethan knew the galaxy was watching. Stories of a human piloting a mythical starship would spread quickly. Some would fear him. Others would want to challenge him. But he was ready. He spent the next few days exploring the remaining systems of Vesper. Hidden compartments revealed long-lost technology, advanced communication arrays, and sensors capable of detecting threats light years away. Ethan cataloged everything, learning to integrate the alien systems with human understanding. Each discovery reminded him of the lesson he had learned. Human creativity and adaptability were more powerful than size, weapons, or numbers. He was not just repairing a ship, he was unlocking its full potential using human intuition and logic. One evening, he sat in the bridge, looking out at the stars. The spaceport below was quiet, and the galaxy stretched endlessly before him. Vesper's lights glowed softly, casting gentle patterns across the bridge. The defensive drones hovered silently, ready for anything.
You've grown strong, Ethan said softly. We've come a long way together, and we will go farther. Vesper replied.
The galaxy has underestimated humans for too long. Now they will learn. Ethan smiled. He felt a deep bond with the ship, stronger than anything he had known. It was more than a machine. It was a partner, a teacher, and a friend. Together they had faced danger, discovered secrets, and proven that humans could achieve the impossible. Over the next weeks, Ethan tested the ship further. He practiced navigation, flight maneuvers, and defensive strategies. He explored distant systems, using Vesper's advanced sensors to map unknown regions of space. He encountered more alien scouts, pirates, and traders, but each time he relied on strategy, intelligence, and adaptability to succeed. With each challenge, he grew more confident. Humans were underestimated, but that was their strength. No alien could predict his moves fully because he thought differently, creatively, and quickly. Vesper responded to his decisions, but it was Ethan's intuition that made them unbeatable. Finally, Ethan realized something important. This was not just about survival or exploration. It was about proving that humans could achieve greatness. The myths about humans being weak or primitive were false. Humans could think, adapt, and innovate in ways that no alien civilization could match. He looked out at the stars again. "Vesper," he said, "we're going to change the galaxy, one step at a time."
Yes, Vesper replied, and together we will succeed.
Humans have potential that no one has fully understood. You will show them. Ethan smiled. He felt a surge of pride and determination. He had awakened a mythical starship, faced dangers, and mastered systems that had been hidden for centuries. But more importantly, he had proven that human ingenuity, creativity, and courage were unmatched. As he prepared for another journey into the unknown, he knew the galaxy would soon take notice. Stories of a human and a legendary starship would spread. Others would fear them, challenge them, or try to claim them. But Ethan was ready. With Vesper, he was more than a human mechanic. He was a pioneer, a strategist, and a symbol of human potential. The stars beckoned, endless and full of mystery. Ethan Clark gripped the controls, feeling the power of Vesper under his hands. He smiled, knowing that together they would explore, survive, and conquer challenges no one else could face, and the galaxy would remember. Humans were not weak. Humans were remarkable. And with creativity, courage, and the bond between human and ship, they could achieve the impossible. Vesper hummed softly, lights pulsing gently along the corridors. Ethan Clark sat in the captain's chair, ready to lead. The adventure had only begun. The galaxy would see what humans could truly do.